Hello, artists, coming to you live from my house this time. I'm going to be teaching you a technique today called spiral drawing. It is a trick used to make what looks like a very complicated piece of artwork by using some really simple steps. So it's going to look crazy at first, but you can make some really cool and fun designs using this technique. Now, if you were to try to just draw this, if I were to try to just draw this, trying to just make it look the way that it is without knowing this technique, it would be pretty difficult. But what I'm going to be showing you is kind of a step-by-step on how to turn out these really, really interesting looking drawings with these very simple steps. And we're going to be doing a full page like this, but just for future reference, there are all sorts of ways you can do this using smaller shapes, different kinds of shapes. So you can even make like fun little designs to do this with if you're ever just bored sitting around, or if you're in class and maybe you need something to help occupy your mind for a moment while you're waiting for the teacher to continue, and you have a stack of Post-it notes or something fun. You can do some really cool things with this. You can tell that I enjoy it because I've done a lot of different ways, trying different things, even trying out different shapes like a baby Yoda or even something a little suspicious, if you know what I mean. So we'll see. If you have some fun with this, I'd love to see what you guys come up with on your own, other than what we're going to do now for class. But let's set that aside for now. So really, all you really need for this is some paper. And I would recommend a marker. I'm using Sharpie, but remember, if you're using marker or Sharpie, have something underneath your paper so that it's not going to bleed through and get all on your table. So we're going to start off by creating a line all the way around the edge of your paper. And of course, as soon as I start, the marker that looked like it was doing well is not actually doing well. This is how you know that we don't just make this stuff up. It is happening live right here. Let's pick a color. Let's go purple. You can use any color you want for this. And it's okay if you have to change color throughout too. So what you're going to start off with, once you've got your little box around the edges, this just to kind of contain it, we're going to pick a corner, and we're going to go into that corner, and we're going to just kind of section off a triangle space. Let's even get a little bit closer. There we go. So this is how this works. All you're going to be doing is some straight-ish lines. And I say straight-ish because it's okay if you don't have a ruler for this. It's okay if you're not making perfectly straight lines. What you're trying to do is just get pretty straight lines. If you want to use a ruler, you can, and that can look very cool as well. But it's not recommended for this. In fact, I kind of like sometimes how it looks without the ruler because it feels a little more hands-on. It feels a little more like a real person did this and a machine did not. So the goal is we're going to be working our way around this triangle, kind of drawing shorter and shorter lines as we go until we get to the center and we have nowhere else to draw. What you're going to need to do is start at the top. We'll do it together. And you're going to be drawing a straight line that's kind of following the edge of the triangle, but it's going to end just a little bit outside the corner. You do not want to end in the corner. If you're ending in the corner, then you're not actually drawing a straight line. What you're drawing then, just to show you what I mean, if this was your corner and this was your triangle, if you're drawing from this corner into this corner, you can't draw a straight line. You are either following the same exact line you've already made, or you are actually making a curved line. And you don't want to make a curved line. We want straight lines for this. So it's going to end up being a little bit away from the corner. Then we're going to go from where we left off, drawing towards the next side. But again, straight line is not going to end up in the corner. Stay away from that corner. Then we're going to bring it up, back towards the top. But again, you cannot end in the corner. You're going to end a little bit below that. So you've created a couple of these little spaces now. Now we're going to keep going. Really, when you do this, you shouldn't even have to take your pen or marker off the paper. You can just keep going. So we're going to do again, heading straight down, not going to end up in the corner. across until we hit the side, and back up. So you can see I still have a triangle in here, but now it's not exactly a flat triangle the way it was before. It's kind of tilted, which is what you want to have happen. What you need to be careful of when you're doing this, it's very important that you actually go until you touch a side. If you go down and you do not touch the side, if you just go across and you do not touch the side, what you're going to end up with is these big spaces that are happening around your triangle. If you keep going, you see how I'm making smaller triangles, but they're not twisted at all the way the other one is? This is incorrect. If you have a point like this showing with a blank space around it, it is not correct. That's not what you want to have. You have to make sure that every time you are drawing that line and you actually touch the side. All the way over, touch the side, up, touching the side. Down and over and up again. So we're starting to get kind of the right idea going. And you see how this is turning even more? That's what you want. You want it to twist. If it's not twisting, it probably means you're not touching a side. All the way until you touch a line. All the way till you touch a line. No corners, just lines. Now, as you keep going, if you make a space that seems kind of big, that's okay. That's not going to hurt anything on your drawing. So I'm going to just keep going all the way around. It keeps twisting. It's getting too tiny. Boom. So by the time you're done and you kind of sit back and look at it, you should see this almost twist, this curl that seems to be happening. Almost like stairs that are going down, but also twisting as they go down. It can feel a little bit like you could just fall right into it. So that's the first step. Next step, we're going to go and use the same side that we just did. And we're going to add a triangle onto that. Now, just to keep it from being a little too confusing, I'm just going to cover up this one for now because we don't need to see it. Now we're going to do the same exact thing. You're still going to start up in a corner. Any corner, doesn't matter. Straight line until you hit a side. And then we keep going. Straight line until you hit the side. Straight line until you hit the side. If you overlap here a little bit, that's okay. If you make the space a little bit big, that's okay. So you can see what I mean by I don't even have to pick my marker up. I can just keep going all the way around. Hit the side, hit the side, hit the side. And you're going to keep that up until there's no room left. So now I've created another spiraling sort of staircase. But what's really cool is when I push this aside and show you the whole thing. Now the two triangles together have created this new kind of shape in the middle. So now instead of just two staircases that are going down into space, I now have this kind of cool, I call it like a tube or a warp tunnel that goes right through the middle here. Now there's a chance that yours does not look like this. And if it does not, that is okay. I'm going to keep working on this and I'll show you what happens and what else you can get by this. So if you don't have this yet, don't panic. It doesn't mean that you did it wrong. Let's go to a new corner. I'm going to start it the same way. I'm going to start off with a triangle. And I'm going to start going around. So pretty much your whole paper is going to be like this. You're going to split it up into triangle shapes and start drawing these lines that go from one side down to the next side and keep going. Trying to draw mostly straight lines. You can see mine are not perfect. Mine are pretty wiggly, but that's all right. That's how you know that a human hand did it. Keep going all the way down to the bottom. Now, I'm going to connect this to here. So I made another triangle. Now, the reason that yours might have come out a little different, there's two ways that this can turn out. One of these, like I said, is like the tunnel or the tube. The other one I kind of call the fan. And all that means is that the way that you started it kind of goes a little bit differently. It just kind of depends on the direction that you choose to make your lines in. So you're probably seeing the shape already starting to form, and it does not look the same as the tunnel shape. I might make another tunnel. So you can kind of see, this is what I'm talking about when I say a fan shape. It creates this thinner at the bottom, spreads out, and almost has like a leaf kind of feeling at the top of it. So you can either have the tunnel or you can have the fan. Either one of them is fine. No way is incorrect. So let's go to a new space. Make that into a triangle. And we're going to go again. So starting in a corner, draw a line, touch a side, touch the side, touch the side. And I'm just going to keep on rolling with that. So eventually you're going to start filling in your whole paper this way. And I'll get to a point where I can kind of show you what happens if you have some odd spaces left over on your paper. All the way down to the middle. Boom, boom, boom. Great. Let's do kind of an odd shaped triangle for this one. Have a little fun with it. So now you may want to cover up your triangle while you're working on it. If it's a little bit too much looking at it while you're trying to draw, I know it can be a little bit confusing sometimes. As you've seen, I've made way too many of these already, so I've gotten pretty good at mostly ignoring it. And you can see I made a big space there, but it doesn't matter. It's okay. There we go. And let's spin it around this way. Let's do a slightly different shape. Skinny triangle. So kind of like I was showing you before, it is possible to do this with a different kind of shape. You can do this with a square shape. You can do it with a shape that has more sides. But the more sides you make, kind of the more difficult it is to get the right design to happen. I would recommend either triangles or squares, especially as you're just getting used to it. And let's just make that go right into one. Didn't even stop. I'm just going to keep it going. So again, I'll say this over and over again. If it's not looking right, make sure that you are not going into the corner and that you are touching a side every time. All the way around. Smaller and smaller. This one came out as a fan shape. So now I'm stuck with, let's back up a little bit. Not stuck with. Now I have a couple of these odder spaces. Weird kind of shapes. So you have some options. If the space is big enough, you can just turn that into some more triangles. That would be a pretty easy way to do it. And then you're just going to keep going like you were before. Working your way back to the middle. Be careful not to make your spaces too big. This was just bordering on too big for me, but it still worked out pretty well. I tend to like trying to keep it as close as I can, but when I'm trying to move fast, so you guys don't have to sit and watch me do this the whole time, it gets a little bit sloppy. Too much speed can be a little too sloppy. There. Very nice. So now I have a very small little space here. I could try to turn this into like triangle going this way, but that's going to get a little bit hard to do because it's such a small space in here. So what I'm just going to do, I'm just going to, let's cut this off right here. So I've cornered off this space. So it's not quite a triangle, but it's kind of close. I'm going to treat it though, just like I would with my triangles. But now I've got 4 sides. So you kind of get a little hint on how you would do this with a square. Follow that line down. Follow this line over. This one going up. This one going back over. So now I have 4 sides that I'm doing. But what's going to happen is as I get closer and closer down here, that space is getting much smaller. Eventually, I'm not even going to have anywhere to go on that space. I'm just going to end up hitting, boom, a line. Didn't even get down there. I hit the side first, and now it's become a triangle, which is okay. Still worked out pretty nice. So then I got these 2 kind of odd, little odd space right here. I'm just going to turn this into a triangle right there. Let's go, let's go. This will be a bit small, but that's okay. We're making it work. And then this space, we'll treat it as another kind of strange 4-sided shape. So ultimately, this is your goal. You are going to create a full page drawing using this technique. That's pretty much it. Look at that tiny little warp I created right there. Spin it around. There it is. So remember, tips are make sure that you are starting but not ending in a corner. Make sure you are not missing going all the way to the line. You want to make sure you touch the line every time, and then fill up your paper. And if you want to experiment with other shapes, you can do it with curved lines. It's tougher. Check out the other video that I posted from that artist on YouTube who does some of this work. Beautiful, beautiful work. I've been really inspired by him. I'm doing some of my own little ones right now that maybe I'll show you once I get them done. But I'm trying to do a really detailed one using pen and a ruler, and it's going to drive me crazy. But in any case, I hope you have a little bit of fun with this. I'm sure you're going to amaze some people with how awesome it looks with just a couple of simple straight-ish lines. And I'll see your work up soon. Bye for now.